expense from their budget, which they have set aside a line item for the creek in support of maintaining the creek. They're in agreement that there should be some financial support on the part of the city to help maintain these conditions, not only for the existing project site, but as we go up and downstream. There are a few conditions downstream where there's been some embankment loss or failure. There's some engineers, and we brought in engineering as well to protect the water treatment plant. But the overall discussion is with strong community education, and we develop stakeholder participation. Landowners need to understand, if you live on the creek, what can you do? Does your landscaper need to be educated? Can you contribute towards an annual event of doing any of the maintenance that's needed? It's a long-term project, and we're going to get there. We have the first event that we're planning, which will be probably late April, and we'd like to have an event similar to our leaf pickup program in Rogue River, where we have SOS, and I've talked to SOS and Pacific Rentals about this. They would both like to participate. They'll bring in low boys, and we can do an annual trash pickup along the creek area. That allows all folks within the community with different abilities and mobilities to participate in doing that. Then we can have it dumped for free. The city would like to see us participate in that as well. And we are looking at initially our anticipated completion date for the initial 8,000 linear feet was going to be August 2025. I'm going to be talking with Chief about requesting OSFM that we extend that to July 2025. And the only reason being, original calendar schedule was start March. We anticipated 2 weeks to do this, but we bumped it to October again for the bird nesting. We were successful, but it pushed us so deep into this year. We won't get the 2 herbicide sprays. We're going to actually do 4 next year and then 2 the first half of 2026. And I don't see OSFM having it well within our budget. And our expenditures for supplies for things like stakes and ribbons, ink for printing, I think we're less than $800 of the projected $5,000 that was set up. So some of that is going to go for signs that we have donated indicating the riparian area. We have some artists participating and helping us for that for free.
Thank you. That's amazing. You're an amazing individual. It's so grateful for the work you've done.
Oh, thank you. I will say it again and again. It really is a community effort. Without the fire district support and lead, without the city's acknowledgement and support, our community members really coming forward to our monthly education classes and going, oh, now I get it. Now I understand. I'm going to share something. Since we've done the cut, I have people walking into the office every week saying, wow, are you coming to my property? What other work are you doing? How do I get involved? Brookside, when the president of the HOA came in, he said, we were looking in May, how could we bring down these dead trees? How can we go into the creek? We know we can't touch it. And when I showed him how we could align it, as well as bringing the American Red Cross in, who has a program for free smoke detectors and free smoke detector installation. That's what this Saturday's presentation is going to be. An all-encompassing fire safety and getting folks beginning to think about it now before fire season gets here, and then making the annual event, which would be occurring every year in April. We're inviting those agencies that have tremendous education points, the fire district, the police department, sheriff, search and rescue, some of the other ecological agencies. So we really like to see the community at large, even those not living on the creek, begin to recognize its importance and that we need to maintain it for fire safety, and also because it'll look prettier, and quite frankly, it also helps with home values. And I know I like to look at something nicer, not filled with trash and blackberry.
Nikki, I know that you have budgeted in the plan for a 2-year cut and spray procedure. My question is, as we look forward and push this out further, is there a master plan to address not only the understory fuels, but also to address some of the upper story fuels? If you, or as you are aware, the fires that we had south of us, a lot of that fire was carried in upper story versus the understory.
Yep.
And in your presentation, it clearly showed that we have a liability with upper story fuels. What is the long-term plan to address that? And you mentioned that you're working with of those individuals, Firewise communities, where each Firewise entity would support that type of a function.
That's part of the overall plan. I'm gonna high point first. The biggest factor we observe is lack of understanding about what the creek is, how dangerous it was, and exactly what could be done. It was really overwhelming for a lot of people. And to your point specifically, we brought in a few arborists and some other tree-specific individuals. Again, I'm always looking at costs. Arborists are very expensive. They have great knowledge, but you don't necessarily need an arborist to girdle a tree of ivy. Our goal is to address the upper story by February with the goal of doing the replanting for the visual effect and addressing the upper story areas in our replanting area first, because we don't want to go in and do planting of seedlings, then address those things in the limbs. Long term, and again, I'm going back to the city, participation by the landowners and mainly some of our larger property owners, the HOA, Pacific Rentals, and the manufactured home community, they have a tremendous amount of tree canopy behind them. It has never been addressed. One of our first meetings about their financial participation, coupled with the city, coupled with additional grant funds that we're looking for, is to, if we can address it in the trees, then we maintain any of the regrowth and we prevent it from happening at ground level. We don't get that regrowth. That's why we start off with the girdle, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. You girdle the tree for 6 feet, it dies in the upper canopy. It's easier to pull out. If we do ground herbicide spray and we do annual maintenance, it doesn't get to grow back up the trees, but the level of growth in the tree canopy is phenomenal. It will probably take us 2 to 3 years to get to all of it. I initially anticipated this to reach the entire top to bottom within the UGB of 5 to 7 years, because we're doing this in cycles and operating under the rules. We can't just cut it all. We have to cut and then replant. We've got to put vegetation in. So we're looking at these funding cycles as we're also doing our monthly education to garner more citizen participation. This really cannot fall on the city. It can't fall on one agency. Landowners need to participate consistently. Some can, some can't. And when we find that balance of the ability to participate either financially, physically, and we couple it with fiscal participation by the city, and then we continue to infuse it with grant funds, I think we're going to get a nice consistency.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nikki, thank you for what you've done with your program. Good stuff.
Thank you. May I give you one minute update on the CWDG round 3? Is that possible? Thank you. We were not awarded the CWDG round 3. For all kinds of reasons I'm sure we've all seen on the TV and whatnot. They predominantly went to big forest projects and we're disappointed by that. However, we are going to take our round 3 and the scoring that was done on it. We are going to revise it when and hopefully should and hopefully when round 4 come out. We will be revising it and reprinting, resubmitting, improving it, hoping to get a better chance in round 4. So we feel that the initial outlay was not lost. We're going to reuse it, but improve it in an attempt to get round 4. We don't know what the administration's participation or feelings will be at that time, but it's certainly not going to go to waste. And it's also going to be the backbone, and we have been using it for some of the other grant funding reach that we're talking about for this particular project. So it was not wasted. And I wanted to acknowledge that and thank you again for your support in that.
But thank you for doing that too, and reach out to the department or me individually if you need to develop a grants here. And how frustrating it can be, but just keep reapplying. I have one currently in the books right now. And there are members of the board, not all of us, that are very supportive.
Oh,
keep it up.
thank you. Thank you very much.
One last comment if I could.
Yeah.
It looks to me like the property owners that are adjacent to the creeks and stuff, they're the winners. I mean, they get their landscaping and their debris and their garbage and their old lawn clippings hauled out at the cost of the rest of the taxpayers, the grant funders, whoever. The public generally puts that money out that money that magically appears with these things called grants. It just seems like the rest of the people are subsidizing a very small portion that are, benefiting from all this work is my opinion of it.
I've heard that opinion before, and I'll tell you what my thoughts are on that. And I think from a professional standpoint, I have to look at it this way. There are some bad actors out there, and we have discovered a few. We have a person who has a massive trash pile, and they were conveniently hiding it along the creek embankment behind Blackberry. I had him cut the Blackberry all the way up to his trash pile. We had some folks that were dumping some kitty litter boxes. We have found innumerable amounts of trash. I think those are rarities. We have 3 people who were absolutely without question their landscape person. I think the general one, lack of understanding. The big thing that people knew is you can't touch the Blackberry, you'll get in trouble, it's big fine. And that's wrong. The proper terminology is Blackberry management. You are allowed to manage Blackberry, but that comes with a level of education so people understand you can't rip it out of the ground and make it a golf course down to the water line. That's why our education series, and we're also working on something called Click Before You Cut with Southern Oregon Water. Clint Nichols over there. A rack card so that people get the bullet points of what they can and cannot do. The other thing that we found, because our community is predominantly low income, senior citizens, it's a physical act to do this. So they either need to be physically able to do it or financially able to pay for it. And in the case of folks like Brookside and Cedar Creek and our manufactured home community, they have not been allocating funds, and they should be doing it. They have charges to their HOA members. Now, these are my personal and professional opinion, but I'm not in charge. Cedar Creek is a massive rental company, Pacific Rentals, and we've got the manufactured home community, and we've all been there. Do I feel that at some corporate level they should be participating? Absolutely. Can I guarantee that they will? No. I'm going to try my darndest now that we've done a very nice thing and exposed what they need to address. However, we don't have a regulatory body within the city of Rogue River for enforcement. And WCRI cannot be regulatory or enforcement. We're a nonprofit. We're just a good guy. And as long as we stay in our lane, people keep letting us on their property. And we want to do that.
I think you kind of pivoted away from my point I was trying to make with your discussion, but just the fact that the general population is paying for a very narrow strip of landscape work. And I don't see that as being a really good way to go. I mean, if everybody benefits, like you say they do, that's one thing. But when you have a lot of people that are getting, all this nice yard work done, it's the work we've all done living here and growing up here with our own money and our own labor, fighting blackberries or whatever other, vegetation issues we have. I just want to make a comment that I feel like it's very centralized on the people that benefit.
But I'm going to have to give an alternate viewpoint of that. I've actually fought fire in this community, and I've been up against a wall of blackberries that are right next to houses. And it's terrifying. That wind shifts, you don't know what's going to happen. You're hoping you can get out of there. People are going to lose their houses. And a place like this, going to lose their lives potentially. A bunch of old people, so thank you.
And I personally, just as a community, my mom lives in town. What I know is that this is the beginning. Ultimately, I would like to see all of the creek addressed within the UGB for one reason only. Even if the perspective, and Mr. Court, I think you've got a right to that perspective and you're not the only person, but I also think that creek affects everybody. So with the beginning at this stage, they don't get landscaping, but what we get is an overall fire resistant, fire mitigated area. It's the start. I'm happy that we're successful, and we're going to continue to move forward as best we can as we see that the city will be benefiting.
Thank you, Nikki, for that. And we appreciate what you've done and the funding from the grant that has funded this, which is a statewide grant. Okay, let's move on. There's no further comment to the minutes. We'll take them individually as some were in attendance and some were not. First, we will review the safety committee minutes. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
No.
Okay.
Reason?
Please.
Bullying by Mike Hammond.
How did I bully you?
Okay, gentlemen.
Never mind, it doesn't matter. I don't want
Gentlemen, we're going to further on in our new business or under old business. It'll be, it's under new, I see, regarding board conduct. And this is going to address board members, staff, and everybody. And we will have a discussion about that at that time. Okay? All right, Board of Directors, regular session, October 8th.
Motion to approve is presented in the packet.
Motion,
Seconded.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have to abstain, I was not present. Town hall meeting.
I'd move to approve.
I will second. Go ahead.
You have me down there as attending. I did not attend
Okay,
You attended virtually.
ever, but I wasn't physically there.
And since you watched it live.
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye. Abstain.
Aye.
Abstain. Need to be present.
Okay, Board of Directors meeting September 10th.
These minutes were brought to the last board meeting and we didn't get them approved. We didn't get 3 votes on it, so that's why we brought it.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of October 10th, or excuse me, September 10th board meeting.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
No.
Do you got a reason or just no? Great. Okay. Finance report.
So our major expense this month was hose testing, along with ladder testing. That cost $6,187. That was well within the budgeted amount. The good news is we received $15,463 from GEMT funds. Other than that, we operated within budget. There were no unexpected expenses.
Did we have any significant hose loss or ladder failures in the test?
No.
Just a little bit curious on, it's a good thing, our revenue carry forward is quite a bit larger than we budgeted. That's because of what?
So part of it is because we created the budget before the actual end of the fiscal year. And we created the budget based on averages that we have in certain spreadsheets, but then we didn't spend all the money that we anticipated spending. So that money comes forward. Part of it is just that we try to be real conservative we try to underestimate revenue and overestimate expenses.
Got it. Thank you. That's good news.
It appears that, we haven't started seeing, at least on this yet, much from the tax turnover, from the county in recent days. Have we got something?
We got $300,000.
Good. Always.
Any other questions or comments on the financial report?
Yeah, I have a couple here real quick, if I could. I didn't see, and maybe I just overlooked it. Is there a Visa statement breakdown?
I saw one.
Yeah.
I might have overlooked it. I'm sorry.
It's right
Yeah.
in front of
Direct me to which page it is.
Page 12.
Page 12? Okay, thank you. Buffalo Graphics, a new vendor.
I was looking at that. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Are you talking about $750?
Oh, I just saw that name popped up, $896.
Oh, okay, that was t-shirts.
I'm just curious if that was somebody different we're using now than our old people.
Notice we had a new rug entering the lobby out there. How much did that cost?
So, I don't remember the exact amount. It was,
Close to $400.
yeah, so what we are, so going way back, I decided if we ever get into money problems, the first thing we're gonna do is cut Alsco. So Alsco comes in, it costs us, what, like $400 a month? They bring in rugs, wonderful service, but we can buy rugs and own the rugs, and that saves us $300 a month. Is that what we're spending on it? Something like that. So we are in the process of buying those rugs. Unfortunately, we are under a 5-year contract, so I can't completely cut them. So I have to have, there's one rug back here, I think, and then there's some smell good things in the toilets that we're continuing, but we're gonna own our rugs.
So you're
We're
kind
in the
of
process of doing that.
winding down with them. Yeah, I know, and they are quite expensive. I know what you're saying.
I don't think they're all gonna be fancy embroidered pieces of artwork. Hopefully that's the last piece of artwork we.
I would make a motion that we approve the finances as presented in the packet.
The motion,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Oh, roll call vote, please.
John Foster,
Yes.
Jim Stearns.
Yes.
John.
Back to us is over the last few years, we have had workshops. And in these workshops, we have assigned responsibility board members to work with one another, to work with, an example, members of the union and everything, to complete tasks in for the betterment of the district. Today, we brought forward, we had the organizational projects for fiscal year 25. Wanted to address what items we've completed, what items that have not been done, and the items that are ongoing to get a status of those items. So Mike has provided us the tasks that were assigned to us, and we just want to kind of go through those and discuss those.
Page 32
32.
of your board packet.
The other thing is for next month's board meeting, I think we need to address, this is the organizational projects at the year 25, but we also had one that addressed goals that we wanted to do within the organization, such as expanding the volunteer program, things of that nature. So we need to address that and get an update where we're at with that and proceed forward with those. So going down our list with these, we have board policies and reviews, and that was completed. The chief's position description, which was completed. We reviewed the volunteer program, and that was discussed. It wasn't that we completed anything. I think it was a discussion that it was a necessity that we look and work at improving our volunteer program. And then that was addressed at a subsequent meeting, so we can follow up with that. Discussions also about the student program. The lieutenant and single role positions, that we addressed following negotiations within the negotiation process. Staff retention, that's ongoing. Chief, will you give us an update on that?
So we do our best to keep our employees. We're gonna lose 3 employees. I lost 1. He moved to California to be with his girlfriend who was in school. I'm also gonna lose 1 to Grants Pass, and I'm gonna lose 1 to Medford. So it's our intention to replace all of them in January.
Were they all paramedics, Mike, or?
2 of them were paramedics.
We still haven't implemented a exit interview program, have we?
Yes, I will be doing exit interviews on all 3 of them.
Have you been doing that prior?
We haven't had any turnover for like 3 years.
You haven't had any turnover for 3 years?
We had 1 girl that quit who was on probation. Other than that, we haven't had any turnover in 3 years.
Okay. Chief, you want to address policy review?
Can I
Go ahead.
back up on that? I think the intent when we did these, where it says all, was wider involvement in addressing the issue. Yeah, and I'd like to see that.
So with my staff you're talking about?
What's that?
Are you talking about with my staff?
Well, I assume all is this administration, staff, and board.
Okay.
That's who I think all is, because that's how we divvied up the responsibilities.
Is a workshop your preference on that?
Have to be a workshop, if as long as, I mean, you can do it anyway. If you have a committee to address or something, just involve everybody that's represented.
Okay.
Glad to talk to you more about my thoughts on that. It's kind of,
Okay. So on policy review, we just started doing policy review. We do it in conjunction with the safety meeting. We reviewed the bloodborne pathogens policy. Thank you, Cameron. We made some minor changes to that to just line up some documents, associated documents, so that they're referenced in the policy. And then next month, we will be reviewing the respiratory policy. So it's our intention to do 1 policy a month. Initially, we're going to do policies that are required to be reviewed annually, according to our OSHA visit, that we have not been reviewing annually. So as we get those done, then we will move on toward other policies.
Chief, it started when we subscribed to Lexipol. There was a review that was to be completed, comparing our existing policies to recommendations by Lexipol and those changes being made. I know you had an individual working with that. What is the status of those?
what I need to do is take the list of Lexipol policies we have and narrow it down to policies that we need. We have an extensive amount of policies. We have more policies than we need. For example, we have a lot of operational policies, fire ground type stuff that we've adopted the Rogue Valley Fire Chief standing orders that will, so those operational policies can go away. And then there's other policies that I need to recommend that they go away also. And then we will continue with the monthly review of the Lexipol policies.
And I would ask that we take a look at what should be policy and what should be SOP. You can change SOP, policy is. So typically operational things follow under standard operating procedures.
Policy. takes board approval,
Say it again.
And policy takes board approval.
So do you want like the respiratory policy and that you want all those to come to the board?
Do you think they need to?
Or should it fall under an SOP?
I'd like to see the respiratory policy.
But
We can make
I'm
those-
just saying, one of the problems with policies, not problem, but they're like enacted into law and then getting rid of them is a real pain in the neck, you know what I mean? Whereas standard operating procedures, you're saying this is how we're going to do it under all circumstances. This is our standard, and you can change those, you can get rid of those, you can add to those. Yeah. The policy is a little more cumbersome, but if it's important that it be this way, you know, this is our drug policy, for instance. Yeah, you want that in stone, that's policy. If it's how we're gonna staff the engine, that needs to be an SOP because that can change.
Why don't I start with the master list of our policies? I will make recommendations on that list and then I'll bring it to the board and we'll move forward from there.
Yeah.
Is the respiratory protection, is that also folded into the health monitoring policy?
Health monitoring.
Health monitoring, things like x-rays, track exposure, things like that. I don't know if that went away or if that's still around.
Cameron, can you help me with that? I don't think it does.
No, so it could potentially fall into that, based on the Alliance going towards the annual physicals with the Alliance, the medical physicals that they're gonna be doing. There could be an x-ray component to that and stuff and such. Historically at this department, you get that, at date of hire. And then moving forward with our respiratory protection, it's our annual education on, you know, when to put a mask on, how to put a mask on, when you should wear an N95, when you should wear an SCBA, what type of respirators you should be utilizing and when you should be using them. And then our policy for annual fit testing, which is coming up for us in December. But again, once we go to the Alliance's medical physicals, that should all be encapsulated in that, the x-rays, the blood testing, the full gamut of stuff.
I know in the past they had been attempting to track exposures, which is probably really difficult to do, especially considering timelines. Has that just been shelved at the moment?
I don't believe we have a policy. The exposures that are tracked, 100% would be any bloodborne pathogen exposures, anything medical or to that extent. As far as if I go on fire and, you know, there's green flame, the burning that we're trying to put out, the onus of that is on us as individuals to track that. Oregon does have very robust presumption laws that protect firefighters in those instances, so. But is any other department I've been at as well, they primarily track that.
I was wondering how you're doing it more than anything.
It's in first. When you fill out the fire report,
Oh, it is.
there's a spot that actually says, was there any exposure?
Okay, so you are tracking.
And when we know that there has been a gulp of smoke because people weren't in a CBA because the wind shifted, there's a spot there where you click yes. And
Okay, Okay,
file the expense.
that's what I thought it was. So you guys are doing that, and
That's an end.
it's not overly onerous, but
And,
that's what I was thinking.
and there should be discussion, because you're talking about employees getting x-rays, blood testing and everything. That is a meet and confer issue. That is something that needs to be addressed under that umbrella. And
We did confer with
that's a labor type issue because there are costs associated with that. And it's a confidentiality factor also that have to be addressed with that. So,
correct. So my understanding in speaking getting their physical completed, it's the entire packet to take to their doctor for review. All the department sees is a fit for duty or recommend follow up with primary care. That is all the department sees.
correct.
And whenever we get our stuff there, labor has taken votes on this and we are in favor as a majority.
There, see, there's your key right there is,
For the
is
physicals.
right. And that's where we as the department, we have to capture that, and it would be a memorandum of agreement. It's a formality in legality that would,
Would that need to be a contractual issue or would that be something that could be put into policy and?
that we need to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So some organizations, they address it as an actual side letter to the contract or an actual MOU. Other organizations have, it's all, because it can be a contentious argument. Who's paying for what, who has what knowledge of what and everything. So that's why it's just like with, in regards to the Paid Organ Leave Act. Everybody was in agreement to it, but we still had to address it. That's just something that down the road we should discuss.
And we just got a grant awarded, regional grant for a NFPA physicals. So it's on the horizon.
Okay,
Are we done?
we're coming back to it right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, we discussed mission statements and we discussed it with all the members and it says we're completed. Do we have a final printed mission statement?
Yes. It's on the S drive. It's also in the strategic plan.
Strategic plan. Okay,
What's BOC?
It should be BOD.
discussion regarding the strategic plan.
I think that's completed and adopted by the board.
Isn't that being retooled again?
We just completed it. And there was one workshop, maybe even two workshops, and then we created the final document and then brought it to the board. I'm going to say 3 months ago.
Operation practices, I think we touched a little bit upon that discussion, addressing that. Standards are covered.
We completed that. We had one workshop on that.
Do we have a final document on the standards are covered?
Yes.
5-year plan.
What'd you say?
I was thinking of like,
So on 5-year plan, we did a 10-year plan on the capital levy that mainly talks about apparatus replacement. On the general fund, we did a budget analysis out 5 years, but I wouldn't describe that as a 5-year plan. So I'm saying we haven't done it on the general fund. And I'm not sure exactly what you would like to see in a 5-year plan.
I think my thought on it would be bullet points that include apparatus, that include finances that include personnel, that include facilities.
Things that take a lot of
Just
planning.
an overview of the complete operation and in your opinion, where we think it's headed over the next 5 years.
And to add that, I would like to also see it program based. You have a prevention program, you have an equipment maintenance program. I'd like it to go down into the detail of what are the 5-year programs goals.
Okay.
Where the example is, where does Mike want the prevention program to go? What are the priorities of the prevention?
I will start working on it. I need some time.
No problem. Like just as long as you're giving us periodic updates of where we're at and
After I do
Yeah, I
one,
get
the
that.
next one will be simple.
that's it.
You got 5 years to complete it.
Ending fund balance.
That was inserted as part of board policy.
And I forget, was it 750? We said what we think the ending fund balance should be.
25%. But there's another caveat. So those,
So it'd be interesting to know where we're at.
I looked at it. I don't remember the numbers, but we're okay according to the policy.
For the next meeting, can you bring that number to us?
It looks like we're in good shape as currently.
Safety audit? That's in progress, or is that, where are we at with that?
There are 3 meetings of safety audit. So we requested an OSHA inspection, and that is 3 different visits. The first one is a station walkthrough. The second one is a policy review. Those 2 have been done. The third one is an ergonomics evaluation that has not been done.
Ergonomic.
Ergonomics. I've never been through that, so I don't really know what it looks like.
The new chair.
It's, I think the intent behind that is more where we putting our stuff on the apparatus.
Yeah.
Like, am I putting the heaviest thing up high, so you have to get it and bring it down?
Sure.
Along that, and maybe checking out the gym, making sure that our lifting equipment is appropriately set up. I've been attempting to make contact with, I believe it was Paul Utterback, it's the contact for that. And we've just missed each other on this, so that one might get pushed till next year, but we got the primary 2 done, and we'll keep trying to make contact with you.
Thank you.
That used to kind of fall under common sense.
All righty.
Don't start there.
So we'll continue addressing these items, bring closure to them, or if they're a living item where it's an ongoing, we'll have updates on those and move forward with that. Any other questions on how we're going about this or what we're doing? Okay. New business. Local levy option outcome. Levy passed, open it up for discussion by board members.
What was the final percentage, Chief? Was what?
So the final percentage was 1,146 yes, 966 no. So that's 54.26% yes, 45.74% no. There was 0 overvotes and 4 undervotes. An undervote is where you don't vote on that particular item. An overvote is where you select yes and no on a particular item. So it disqualifies your vote. So,
And so, least on my ballot, that was the only item on the ballot. Was the city any different? Or anything else?
No,
So somebody sent in a blank ballot. If there's an undervote.
correct.
Okay.
Um, so the process went well for us. It was a lot of work, worthwhile. Thank everybody for your effort, participation. We started with a levy workshop, and that was a budget analysis back 5 years. And then we took that, created trends going forward, and determined what the dollar amount per thousand should be for the levy. In addition to that, we did a mass mailing, 3,598 addresses. That cost us $2,532. The union also did a mass mailing. Thank you very much for your participation on that. I know you spent some money on it. I met with the Kiwanis and the Rogue River City Council, and then we had a town hall here. We talked about the viewership on that, so that was worthwhile. I don't know yet what the cost of that election is going to be, but there were only 2 items on the ballot. That was us and the city of Medford. So it's going to be expensive. I am suspecting it will be about $8,000. I'm basing that on what it cost us to pass the capital levy with about the same number of measures on the ballot. So that $8,000 plus the $2,500 that we spent is about 12.5, excuse me, it's about 10.5. We budgeted 10,000, so we're right in budget if my predictions are right. So
Wasn't aware that that's how the, costing on that worked.
they take the cost of the election and divide it by the number of measures.
If it hadn't passed, it would have been the same cost.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it would have been
Good thing it passed.
much more productive to have gone for the levy at the same time that the directors were seeking election in May.
You can do it. Yeah, that's a May election and dollars can only, yeah, it can be done. May and November dollars can be both. Yes, it would.
Say that again now?
I was thinking they couldn't do it, but but and you can do finance.
That might for the next.
Be less expensive.
Because we're already paying for it.
Mhm.
Small add on.
Any other comments regarding the local levy auction?
Today is the last day to receive mail-in votes that could alter this, so don't suspect there'll be any changes.
Next item is board conduct. Over the last few weeks, there's been 2 letters of concern that have been sent to the board. One by an anonymous citizen and one by the union. In regards to this, I would remind everybody that we have our policies of board conduct and everything in our board policies and procedures. But one thing that seems to be developing, and we need to put a curve on it and stop it. I don't want to infringe upon anybody's positions or comments. However, we have to maintain a level of professionalism and conduct as board members. With that, if there is a personal disagreement between board members, please bring them to me as the board president instead of turning it into a controversial argument at board meetings. The purpose of our board meetings is the betterment of the district and also to address concerns of the district. In regards to some of the things that we've done or have said, I'll use an example of with Craig, where where he went out and went to organizations in support of the solar project. We as a board voted and gave him direction to go out to meetings and such as board members. And if it goes outside of an example, not saying that this did or didn't, but let's say Craig was to go outside of the scope of that. If that occurs, please bring it to me as the board president and we will address it appropriately. But we need to have positive communications amongst one another. And in doing so, that encourages constructive discussions here at the board level, where we will agree to disagree, where we will agree on items. And if we disagree on items, we do so here at the board meetings openly. But once a decision is voted upon by the board and a board decision is, going one direction, and if a single board member disagrees with that, I think in our policies, we support that we agree to follow what the board's decision is. If we need to go back and revisit for policies or conduct and have more of a detailed policy of our actions, then we will do so. But I think we owe it not only to our constituents, but we owe it to the staff here that we, as the board, work together where we agree to disagree, where we agree and move forward, but the betterment is for the organization. With that, I would like the board's concurrence to allow me to go meet with the union president to discuss the letter that we received from the union. I have no idea who the anonymous person was that sent the other letter, but my intent is to show them that we as a board are here to support the betterment of the fire service for this community. I would openly like to have any other board member comment on this, your feelings, your thoughts. Be candid, gentlemen, this is it.
Well, understanding, in my opinion, that some give and take and some even heated at times debate amongst us is perfectly natural and part of the process. I'm not gonna, rubber stamp everybody's agreements just because I may maybe have an opinion on it. So other than that, I would agree. And I thought was it a policy? I can't, going way back, that we, when we leave a meeting, if there's an odd man out who doesn't agree with something, that we stand as a board, our board, in the public's eye of, how we feel on
It
it.
is in our current
Okay,
policy.
I thought it was somewhere, but okay, that's all I have to add to it. But
And I would agree with the open debate, and as long as we can do it in a, no, I don't know, professional manner is the right term, but a civil manner, and that it doesn't get personal. That's not. Accurate and well written and true to the course, and I personally am a little embarrassed by conduct of the board at times, and would do anything I can to support a more congenial, perhaps is the term, board meeting.
Great. Been with this department for a long time. And prior to being a board member, I was a firefighter, and we always discussed how dysfunctional the board was. How it was full of bullying, and people were constantly leaving because of that. It continues to this day. With regard to me speaking with the Kiwanis, I made it very clear that I was there as an individual, there as a taxpayer, and I was exercising my First Amendment right over that multiple times. I still contend that the levy was employed to grow the revenue of this district so that we can be merged with District 3. I'm going to continue to speak that in our community. With regard to last meeting, John Foster called me an a-hole and showed violence towards me when I was trying to grab the check register.
Okay, gentlemen,
So we need to address those kinds of breakdowns of decorum. That's not acceptable. I'm sorry, but it's not acceptable.
and that's what I'm saying right now. We're not going to get to that point where we start calling names. We're not going to be making personal attacks. If anybody feels so strongly against another individual on this board, as a board president, please bring it to me and we will address the issue professionally. We're not going to go back and rehash what occurred at the last meeting. It's very clear.
I just want to make sure it's clear. I want to make sure you
I
understand the facts.
That's why we have this on the agenda today, because we're not going to condone this. Okay? We know that we agree to disagree, but we're going to maintain a level of professionalism.
I want to participate in the meeting with you and the union president.
That's fine.
And also, just so you know, if you look up on the screen, you don't see any viewers, but a lot of the community views these meetings after the meeting is over because we do it so early in the morning. Typically, we have anywhere from 20 to 50 views on every meeting. So the community is seeing your behavior firsthand.
I just have one question. I want to go into the weeds, but Craig has asked you the question of your history as a firefighter. You said the board was dysfunctional then that you served under. Who was the captain? Who was the chief at that time? I'm trying to place those years because I've been on the board a little while.
Well, going back to,
And Ben Ramsey.
yeah, I started with Winfrey.
Chief Winfrey, you have
Winfrey and then Ramsey.
Chief Ramsey.
Mhm.
Okay.
I came on with, the hiring of Stearns.
Then it got better with
All
service.
right. I was no longer a firefighter. at that
Okay,
point.
so
I was on
Winfrey,
the
okay,
board at that
thank
point.
you. That's all I needed.
I know several board members who are like, this isn't worth it.
So I think we're overlooking something. We're kind of talking about your position on the levy and that's fine. I don't care about that. But you just launched a personal attack at me earlier in the meeting. I think that's what we're talking about. That type of behavior right there. Can you address that? Why you think that's appropriate and why, what, are you going to continue with that type of behavior?
Yeah, I'll be voting no on that.
You can vote how you want. I'm talking about the personal attack that you just launched toward me at the beginning of this meeting.
About bullying.
Yeah,
Is that
you
the
called
term?
me a bully. That's the kind of behavior that me and those professional people back there don't deserve from this board of directors. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about your meeting with the Kiwanis. We're talking about we're professionals. We expect the five of you to be professionals. We deserve it.
Professionalism needs to come from all levels.
It starts at
And-
the board
and-
and it's not
Mike.
happening right now.
Like, you put it out on the table, gentlemen. I think we understand that we're not going to condone any type of bullying, personal attacks at any level, staff, board members, or members of the public. I think we pretty much discussed this. If anybody has any closing comments on this, again, I would like concurrence from the board to meet with the union, and Chief, you're more than welcome to participate to discuss this item.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving on. One of the things that I noticed when we were going for our levy was there was a lot of confusion over who we are. Are we Rogue River Rural Fire Protection District? Are we the city of Rogue River Fire Department? Are we Jackson County Fire District 1?
Yes, no, yes.
Yes,
All of the above.
all of the above. So with that, I asked the chief, well, what are we legally? We are legally Rogue River Rural Fire Protection District. Past administrations wanted to fall in line with the other districts, District 3, 4, 5, whatever the numbers are, and we are very proud to be Fire District number 1. So, apparatus and everything states Jackson County Fire District number 1. I'd like to open a discussion. What should we be? What are we legally? And if we want to change it, we need to do it properly and become that entity legally.
So this name change occurred under the previous chief, and I called him, Jim Price, and we talked about this. You kind of touched on why we did it. Rogue River is only 3% of our district. We have more Gold Hill and Grants Pass addresses in our district than we do Rogue River addresses. So Jackson County Fire District 1 just represents who we are better. However, that name change requires some legal steps that were not done. So I reached out to our attorney and got a reply, and we'll talk about that.
I just make a comment. I remember we were going through some documents. I don't know if but I brought this up then and we changed a whole bunch of things. So I seem like we're chasing the tail.
I did the same thing. I brought this up to the chief several years ago, quoted the statute. And anyway, we need to move forward with doing it.
Move forward with what?
Whatever we decide.
We need to legalize. We need to adopt it legally and move forward.
So I believe that we need to move forward with Jackson County Fire District 1 and not move backward toward Rogue River Rural Fire Protection District. The name change, if we do the name change to Fire District 1, it's going to require a lot of work on the administration level with us. And we can do that. If we move backwards, it's going to be very expensive because we're talking about a patch or uniforms or vehicles, all the stuff that has Jackson County Fire District 1 on it.
Can I ask a question of you guys back there? Who do you want to be?
On the spot.
I'm going to put you on this spot. You're the ones wearing the patch, you're running the equipment. This is,
I think the way you said it is very accurate. Jackson County Service, we're constantly out in Weimer with our ambulance, constantly going to Grants Pass and helping them. Like we're going in log places. I think it's more encompassing, all encompassing of who we serve as a department to be Jackson County, not just Rogue River.
thank you. Good. As a board for discussion, I'd like to hear from the board members what they think we should do.
He said,
Yep, I agree totally.
Well, I'm one of those with a Grants Pass address, but I consider myself to be a resident of Rogue River, even though I have a Grants Pass address. I do. So I kind of like the identity, the local identity that comes with Rogue River. So I'll certainly go along with Jackson County 1, but I'd really like to see on our apparatus, and not if it incurs much expense, serving the Rogue River area or something that
Serving the city.
acknowledges
surrounding area.
acknowledges where in Jackson County we are. We don't, Jackson County has very little to do with this board. I mean, they're not the owner of the equipment or the employer of the personnel or anything else. And to me, saying Jackson County Fire District sounds like it's a county operated district, which it isn't, but I have no heartburn with Fire District 1, with Jackson County Fire District 1. I'd like to somehow keep some local identity in the process.
To comment on that, our patches say Rogue River on the bottom here under Jackson County. And some of our apparatus, not all of them, say Rogue River on the front. But it's easy to add that if it's not there.
Yeah, and it
But I
doesn't have to
agree
be
with
everyone.
what you
I'd say as we re-letter or redo, serving the Rogue River area or Rogue River, Oregon, something like that I'd be happy with.
You know, it's a big part of the community, a big identity. Rogue Rivers Fire Department, if you live in that area, you pretty much consider yourself to be a resident. Really have an affinity towards Gold Hill. I'm the same about Gold Hill address. It was done in a kind of it was done without board approval. I remember John Bond and Mike Hammond when he first started having a conversation. John was livid. Yeah, not happy at all that did. But I've been asking a lot of people, it's not our name. And so I'm opposed. And no surprise. And, but you need to notify the community. That's the first thing we have to do. We have to have a hearing and she'll get that meet.
Explain your position for me so I understand.
I think that we are Rogue River Fire District.
And you would like to see everything go to Rogue River Fire District?
So just to comment on that. We are Rogue River Rural Fire Protection District, which is a mouthful, and that's one of the reasons that we got away from that. And they didn't get away from it, but to shorten it up and to make it more usable, they went to Rogue River Fire District. And that's the name we used for a long time, and that was never a legal name.
The District 1 is a major departure. Who the heck is that? Up in Roseburg? Where are they? Where'd they come from? So anyhow, that's my position on it. I didn't like the way the process happened. And, what we have now, so.
Fire District 1 lines up with the Jackson County, how most of them are named Fire District 1, Fire District 2, Fire District 3.
Medford,
through-
Prospect,
Medford is City Fire Department.
Ashland, there's, it's not.
Yeah, Ashland, Medford, or city.
It's not universal.
Okay, so what we need to do is make a decision. One, do we want to move forward with addressing a name change? Or do we want to resort back to our legal name and address that? So I guess what we'll do, address it is take a vote from the board, if there's any motions to do so. And then we'll move forward from there.
I'll just say that the staff here overwhelmingly supports Jackson County Fire District 1.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion.
And the motion is to legally change the name of the district to Jackson County Fire District 1.
Second,
Just get it out there.
We have a first and second. We'll take this as a roll call vote, please.
John Foster,
Yes.
Jim Stearns,
Yes.
John Ellis,
Yes.
Randy Court, and
yes,
Craig Berry.
No,
Okay. With that, Chief, your direction is to proceed forward with this recommendation from legal on how to do so, which I see includes a public hearing.
Be a hearing and I think the first thing we'll do in the next meeting is a resolution. And then after the resolution, that's to do the name change, and then the following meeting we'll do it here.
so when you're out, Jim, camping with your group and you meet a total stranger and they say, where do you live? What do you answer? Grants
Well,
Pass or Rogue River?
Rogue River, but I usually then follow up with this little town.
I know, you got it. Yeah, I do the same thing on Grants Pass too.
Okay. Chief, I'll let you address the next item, which is the award.
Oh, our awards banquet is on February 27th. In Grants Pass, same location, so save that date, please. It'll be at 6 p.m.
Chief's comment.
Wild River Pub.
Okay, so our call volume, if you look at 2024, a year ago, October, it was 2,047. This year it's 2,171. That's 124 calls increase in 1 year. Doing the local option levy, we went back 10 years and looked at call volumes, and we were increasing about 3% per year. This is going to be a 5.8% increase in a single year.
So does that number capture multiple calls that are the same?
Yeah.
Okay, so duplicate calls as well as AMR calls.
When you say duplicate call, what do you mean?
Duplicate calls, like, I have some apps and you'll see the same call a couple times.
No,
That's.
it counts every call one time.
These are calls that we actually roll apparatus on.
Yes,
Or responded to the station.
it's calls we're dispatched to.
Well, dispatch.
So Mike, when we roll the ambulance and the engine, that only counts as one.
Correct.
Dispatch is one thing. We dispatch and not actually go.
Those are very few.
Okay, well, they're all the AMRs.
No, we also, we respond an engine on them,
If you can.
which is almost always,
If you can,
which is almost always.
okay. But there's.
Nobody's trying to lead you on call volume. These are
wondering.
accurate numbers.
I've been wondering, I'll see on like a same call. Just came from 3 different people from 3 different directions, something like that.
And those people back there that are actually running these calls probably feel that extra workload, I'm sure. So thank you for your extra hard work. So Jenna and Jenny went to in Ashland. And they learned things like workman's comp, PERS, legislative updates. Doesn't sound like a fun conference to me, but thank you ladies for your effort in that. Also, they did another training called risk management training. Was that with SDAO? I think it was with SDAO. That was 1 day. They talked about safety committees and cybersecurity and insurance claims. Also, Jenna and Jenny represented us on Halloween. They took our ambulance, our new ambulance, over to Nikki Murphy's parking lot and distributed coffee. This was right before the levy vote, so they interacted with the public a lot in a positive way. So thank you again for that. And firefighter testing we will be doing in December. In January, I'm going to have 3 spots to fill. Right now, it looks like I have about 25 applicants, but not very many paramedics, maybe only 1 or 2 paramedics. So that's the challenge right now. But a lot of them have not uploaded all their documents, so there may be more paramedics than I know about yet. And the closing on that is November 21st. Testing will be December 2nd and December 3rd. That's all I have. Thank you.
Monthly reports for you guys to review.
Chief, can you give me a little help here on, the blue card, what is the blue card?
Blue card is the incident management system that we use. It's really a form of communication.
It's like an internal thing you guys do? or is
It's
it a-
pretty much done all over Jackson County.
Okay,
And so it's so that when you get multiple agencies onto a call, you're all talking, communicating the same way. And that certain terms mean the same thing to everybody.
Common communication.
Make a motion to approve the reports.
Motion to approve the reports.
That too.
Yep.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Hearing none, we'll move on to items that came up after the agenda was posted. Are there any?
There is, and this is probably just me not being aware of what's going on. Where are we at with the Alliance? I haven't, have we had a meeting? Months?
I think we're due. No, I'm fair to say.
I was hearing the talk regarding the medical evaluation stuff. I think I've been to all the Alliance meetings and I know that came up, but in no detail like we heard this morning. And so I'm wondering, when did that get done? Did we miss?
That wasn't done in the Alliance. That was done more through the Rogue Valley Fire Chiefs as a regional. Because it included a lot more than just the 3 agents.
We did talk
That,
about that.
that makes sense. It was talked about at the Alliance.
Carried on by the chief. Okay. Suggested future items, for next agenda, one of the things that I think we need to talk about is our equipment replacement fund. And the only reason I say that is the build out time on apparatus is getting to be upwards to 2.5 years in some cases, depending upon what it is. And I think we need to take a review at our equipment replacement plan to address the build out times on these. So,
Along with that, you mentioned that we do have a new ambulance on board.
Yeah, it's not in service. It'll be some time before we get it into service. I have to change some of the decals to make Oregon Health Authority happy.
It's gonna be Medic 40 or?
It's gonna be Medic 40, but I have to write ambulance on the back of it. We have ordered the electronics for the mobile data terminal. Don't have those yet. It's a good challenge on where we mount it. You said in that seat, you saw how tight it is. So we have some things we have to do to it, and it's going to take us probably 3 weeks to a month to have their ambulance. Going to get it.
And it gets terrible fuel mileage and pretty consistent 9 miles a gallon.
It sounds good and has a lot of power.
Has a lot of power, goes over the hills well.
Like a motorhome.
okay, there's no other comments. Adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn today's board meeting.
Second that motion. Aye.
All in favor, aye.
I will.